Greetings duelists, and welcome to another video. This is going to be a deck retake. The deck that we're retaking today is Gem Knights. For those who don't know what deck retake is, it's when I take a deck or an archetype that I spoke about in a previous video. It could have been months, it could have been weeks, it could have been days apart, and gave it a second look. Basically, I talk and address about the things that I thought about prior to the first video I made, and things that I've learned about, and things that could help you, the player who is watching the deck from my point of view, and see like whether or not like there are some points that are valid or not, and basically create a really good brainstorming for the deck. The deck that we're talking today is Gem Knight. For those who don't know, or those who are newer to my channel, I do own the Gem Knight deck entirely. I have it in max already. I used to play this deck back in 2018 when Phantom Quartz arrived in the TCG. I did play the FTK variant back then. There were other variants that I experimented with the deck. I tested going second builds. I tested builds with a few hybrids. I even tested it with tier elements at one point. And the thing about Gem Knight is Konami gave us really good support cards, but those support cards that they gave us took away the identity that the deck had beforehand. And when that happened, I was a little bit scrambled because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with the deck. Did I still wanted to play it as a going second OTK deck? Because like having the damage like affects both turns. Like if you go second and you didn't manage to OTK them, all of a sudden I kind of short on like squeezing that lapis lazuli burn effect to end your opponent. Did I want to play this going first? Like the deck spams a lot of bodies, but I don't know what to do with those bodies. Is there something menacing that the deck can do? Is there any embers that the deck can make that are just really oppressive for the entire format as a whole? But yeah, I'm going to fast forward it a little bit. This is just showing you what Gem Knights can do, like with their new cards. You've probably already seen other Gem Knight videos by now. You probably already know what's going on by now. But if you don't know, Nephrim is like pretty much the best card in the deck. This is Stratos, but it also enables you a normal summon, and if this card's in your graveyard, you can re-summon it by just sending a card to the graveyard. Hollow Core is like one of the other really strong ones. Hollow Core basically becomes an Omni Negate if you like control a Fusion Gem Knight, but it's also basically a circular. Like you send Gem Knight Fusion in order to special summon itself from the graveyard. You also have Diamond Dispersion. This card can spawn out a lot of other Gem Knights. You also have Gem Knight Dispersion, which is like, this is one of the best cards that any archetype can receive, because this can add a Gem Knight, a Gem Monster, which is even better because it can add Armadillo. But at the same time, if you have Gem Knight Fusion in your graveyard, this can become branded Fusion for a non-rock Gem Knight. Gem Knight Seraphina is like the most important one, because this one enables you an extra normal summon, and you can dump light monsters for it. Although you do have to send non-rock Gem Knights in order to summon her. Part of the Elements gave us Phantom Knight Quartz. For those who don't know what this card is, this card can set a continuous fusion spell if your opponent controls a monster. And if this card is used sent to the graveyard, well, used as a fusion material, you can grab back something from your graveyard. Very similar to like Luna like Black Sheep, which is really strong in a deck like this one. So yeah, like all of a sudden, 2 cards gave us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8 fusion summons. Like 8 fusion summons with just 2 cards is way too much. Like this is basically Ryziel, or no, not Ryziel, but instead of XYZs, but with fusions. And that's ridiculously strong. And some of these fusions are just custom cards. Lady Brilliant Diamond can summon, can cheat out another fusion from like another fusion or another Gem Knight. Master Diamond copies the effect of a Gem Knight by banishing it. This gives us 2 extra normal summons. This pops a face-up card and is soft once per turn. So if you resummon this card, you can just keep popping cards. And it can come up in this deck. This can also pop cards. This is Giant Tornade. Well, it's Hate Tornade on a monster, and it can be fused using Aqua monsters, which is important because Molcharmy Perulia is an Aqua. Like, some of these fusions are really good. Now, what other things can we do with Gem Knights besides just the fusions? Well, this is a 2-card combo, and we didn't even drew the best one. So basically the same thing as last time. And this deck has 1-card combos. Like Nephrem is basically your 1-card combo. Armadillo is a 1-card combo. Dispersion is a 1-card combo. So all these combos that you're watching with this deck can also be done with just 1 card. It doesn't have to be 2 cards. Now, I'm gonna pause it right here. This is all the stuff that I found that are possible with this deck. There are probably a lot more things you can do with this deck, but like this deck can make rank 4s and you're not link blocked into rank 4s unless you use Dispersion's effect, or you use Quartz effect. So you can summon Flame Banshee, and this gets you to Nemesis cards. You can summon Granite. Granite can get you to Nibiru. It could also get you to your Gem Knight cards. You can summon Feral Imps, and that gets you to Mitsurugi combo. Gallant Granite can grab Researcher. This is just another rock extender. This is a tuner, so you can play Synchros in this deck if you wish. You can play Fiendsmith cards because with so many bodies that you're summoning, like getting to Moon and Moon into this, like, is just a bit too easy. Worst case scenario, you can do what I do in Luna Lights and play Exit on Night, which is another really cool tool if you're going second. This deck can summon multiple level 4s easily, so that's not going to be an issue for you. Like post Justice Hunters. This is a level 5 that enables an extra normal summon, so canines can also be incorporated in this version of the deck, or in Gem Knights in general. We'll talk about Tistina another time, but Tistina is another archetype that I also found you can mix with Gem Knights really well. I've seen people experiment with Norleras. Well, it's funny because Holocore is a Dark Fiend and Nephrem is a Light Fairy. So those are the 2 different types and attributes you need for Norleras. And Norleras is pretty cool because it doesn't matter how many Molcharmy draws your opponent gets. You're nuking their entire hand, like at the very end of it. So yeah, that's another thing to keep an eye out for. This deck can play a decent amount of non-engine, as you can see. Now, let's find the issues that I've been having with this deck. Okay. There are no easy ways to beat Liger with this deck. You do have some Gemini Fusion monsters that become big enough to beat over it. But the thing about it is, we don't have enough cards to protect ourselves against the Liger effect. Back in the day, we did have Block Dragon, and Block Dragon was one of those cards. But Block Dragon is not here in the game, so there's no real way to like play around Liger Dancer very easily. It's kind of a shame because if we read Lady Rose Diamond, this card will protect your Gem Knights by card effects on your opponent's turn. I'm really perplexed on why is it on the opponent's turn and not your turn. I think Konami was trying to be very careful when redesigning these Gem Knight cards. I think they should have just given the protection effect, like in general. I don't know why that effect is like halfway through. That would have been very helpful against the Liger strategy. Most armies, if you decide to go first with your Jet Knight deck, like this deck doesn't have real ways to play around these. Like, you can make a half board, you can end on Seraphinite with Hollow Core and Graveyard, maybe just summon up a Guska, and all of a sudden you have a Guska with an Omni Negate, like for your opponent's cards. Because you control a Gem Knight Fusion monster. That is a possibility, but I don't know. I don't feel like that's good enough. Also, Artifact Lancia is really strong against the deck, and you're probably wondering why. It's really strong because of Hollow Core and because of Jet Knight Fusion. There's no real way to play around these cards, like playing with the deck without using these cards at some point. So yeah, this deck cannot play the Dominus cards. Before the release of Hollow Core, you could play Dominus Purge because everything was Earth, and you do have a few light monsters. But because of Hollow Core, you cannot play Dominus Purge. Well, you can, but it just shuts down Hollow Core's effect. And Hollow Core is an effect that you kind of don't want. You kind of don't want it to go to waste, if you get what I mean. There is a world where you just use Hollow Core first and then use Dominus Purge. That is a possibility. But yeah, I'm just very afraid of these cards. Like, if you're going to play a strategy in this format, you have to play a card that can respect these cards. Why should I play Gem Knights in a strategy that is very weak to this card when I can just play something like Ryzeal, if you know what I mean? But yeah, I will give a lot of credit to Gem Knights. I think this strategy is really strong. I think this deck has almost everything it needs to be a very good strategy. I just personally think we're not in the format for it. Maybe after this format ends, maybe after our next Forbidden Limited list, maybe after Justice Hunters arrives, and maybe it swerves up like the contenders that we get for the current format, I can see this deck actually shine brilliantly to its true colors. No pun intended. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this deck retake. I really like Gem Knights. I will play this deck eventually to some event. If you've been on this channel since last year, I played Ritual Beast when it came out in the last Battles of Legends, the Terminal World set, and I pretty much played that deck up until December, and I won a lot of events with it. So, a deck that I really like, they just got support from the Battles of Legends set. It's just something that's right on my ballpark. Yeah, but until then, keep practicing and keep dueling.